Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. This is Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Mentor Select serves parents who are raising teens. Every week, Derek interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. All while parenting them to be successful adults, focusing on social and emotional development, something that's left out of the classroom, but not in ours. Be sure to subscribe, share, and rate. This is Mentor Select, and this is your host, Derek Phillips.
Welcome to episode 78 of the Mentor Select podcast. Parents, you are in for a real treat today. I have psychologist Dr. Daisy Jewell on the show today. Welcome, Dr. Jewell.
Thank you so much, Derek. I'm really happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm glad that we're into 2020, and parents and teens, I truly wish you a wonderful new year.
Yes, indeed.
I bet all of you are excited to be into a new year. I like the sound of 2020. I just like that sound.
Yeah, something special about it. It definitely some big things happening in 2020. So, Dr. Jewell, you know, the focus of the show is to serve parents who are raising teens. Can you tell us what's your background of working with teens and their parents?
Initially, before I got my double PhD, I used to teach school. So I have taught school. I have been a school counselor at middle school as well as high school. In addition to that, I have been a principal. So I have had lots of dealings with teens and children in general, and also with parents and teachers. So I have heard it from all of those areas, all those perspectives, and it has been wonderful. I really admire good teachers, and I have to put good in parentheses, the ones that are dedicated, the ones that are interested in our teens, because actually kids really want to be governed. They want direction. They are excited to be able to accomplish things. They really are. And when they act out or when they are rebellious, it's because of something going on at home, some type of internal conflict that they want to resolve. So we really have to pay attention to our children and our teens. We have to pay attention to what they say, parents, as well as what they don't say, because there are messages in both ends.
Dr. Jewell, you mentioned as far as real parents paying attention to what their kids say and then what their kids don't say.
Exactly.
Can you elaborate more when you say what they don't say? What is that an indicator of?
Yes, you're going to look at their body language. When they say it, what are they doing? How are they looking? Do you have eye contact with them? Or are those eyes cast down to the floor? Body contact is very important. There is a lot of message in body contact. What are they doing with their hands? Are they wringing their hands? Are their hands kind of still moving at a normal pace? As a parent, you have to pay attention to everything. Is their personality changing? Have they started friendships with other kids, someone brand new, and all of a sudden you have discovered another child in your house? We have to pay attention to our kids. And one thing I would like to say, the younger you can start, the better.
Right.
And the first thing that is so important, you have to let them know you love them and that you are there for them unconditionally, no matter what, whether you're going to like what they say or you're not going to like what they say. Just give them the room to be able to say it freely to you, knowing you're going to, number one, listen. That means without interruption, just listen. Because sometimes the least bit of interruption will send them on a different path. They'll close down and you'll never know the message. Listening is a skill. It is very important. And when you're communicating, you have to speak and stop and then listen to the other person.
That's some good information there. And that's something that I noticed. I was raised primarily by my grandmother. So kind of more of that old school parenting where pretty much kids, they do as I say, shut up, just listen and do as I say. Can you tell the parents why that's not as effective with teens or kids in general?
It's not effective for anyone, especially kids. Just do as you say. You have a teachable moment there. When you tell a kid, just do as I say, and you are shutting them completely down. They have a message inside them. Just like you're getting your message out, respectfully, they should be allowed to get their message out. And then we have communication going on. If you only are talking and you're not receiving anything for them, that isn't good because you don't know what's going on inside them. You should always want to know what's going on inside your child. You should always want to know because one little tidbit of information will spark another. And it could be just what you need to know why they're behaving as they behave.
Right.
I don't know if you heard me, but love is the glue that will make all of this happen.
Right.
Loving them, letting them know daily that you love them is so very, very important.
Right. And you bring up a good point in terms of a lot of times teens acting out. Is that just, it's a sign of underlying issues?
Yes, absolutely. Underlying issues probably that you should have talked about maybe several months ago.
Right.
And all of a sudden we have a pressure cooker that's about to explode in your teen. You have to have conversations periodically.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you did it weekly. Everybody sit down as a family and talk and ask your teen, is there an issue you would like to discuss with us? We will listen to you, but at the same time, you must listen to us. Start this at a very early age. You know, we don't want to wait till they become teens. We want to start this when they are young. If they drop something, have them pick it up. That teaches them responsibility, accountability, consistency, persistency. It's important to start it as early as possible. So when they get to be teens, you have already pretty much developed your young teenager into the adulthood.
Absolutely.
Because kids are basically learning to be an adult from the time they begin to walk. You're teaching them responsibility. You're teaching them not to procrastinate, to be consistent, but many other things.
It sounds like you're saying that having that mutual respect is vital for communication to be effective.
Absolutely. You don't feel open and comfortable talking with a person unless you respect them. In other words, respect and trust goes hand in hand. If you respect them, that's the beginning of trusting them. Please teach your kids to trust you at an early age. Do what you say you're going to do. They are watching you, parents. Kids are watching you. They do as you do and not as you say.
Yeah.
Be a person of your word.
Yes, indeed.
And if you can't do something, please let them know. I won't be able to do this. I'm going to try. Don't make promises that you don't keep because you're teaching them to do the same.
Right. And I think back to my childhood and being a teenager, the most valuable life lessons that I learned were lessons that were modeled for me. The adults in my life were modeling that positive behavior that I was able to internalize and actually demonstrate as a result.
That's very true. I really believe that we have to teach our teens and our young people to take responsibility early on. We should give them chores. within their range. You should teach them to complete them, and you should expect them to complete them. You're not doing their chores, and you pick them up and start doing them. You're not teaching them anything.
Right.
It might annoy you that it's not finished, but whatever they have started that you have told them to do, they should finish it. That's teaching them to be an adult, because no one's going to be picking up after them when they are an adult.
Right. So that brings up the question where, okay, now they're a teenager and that foundation hasn't been set. Now they realize, hey, I want to be a better parent now, and I want to start building that foundation or applying these best practices. I realize it's going to be an uphill battle, but how can they approach it at that point?
I am so happy and excited that you asked that question. First of all, you're going to tell the truth, because you're teaching your young teenager who will soon be an adult how to tell the truth. I messed up. I didn't get it right, but I want to get it right now. I want us to communicate better. I want us to understand each other better. There were times when I was really broken myself, and I believe you might have suffered at that. I am so sorry. You take accountability. You apologize for what you have done that was incorrect. And you sit down and you talk about it. You take a piece of paper. You fold it in half. This is a strategy. You fold it in half. On one side, you make promises to your team. You list something very simple things like, I will be cleaning my room, so I expect for you to clean yours. I am going to organize my surroundings, because as an adult, no one's going to be organizing for you. You have to learn to do it now. I'm going to prepare for the next day, the day ahead, get my clothes out, my shoes out. I'm going to make sure everything is clean. I'm going to take my shower at night. You have to learn to do the same. I am going to hold you accountable, and I want you to hold me accountable. On the other side of the paper, the kid is listing what they're promising to you to do. And together, you hold each other accountable. There are a lot of single parents. You don't have perhaps as much time. However, you can be in a two-parent home, and maybe there's only one parent that's actively taking care of discipline and everything else.
Right.
All I'm saying, do the best you can do. Let your teen know, hear you say it, and watch you do it, that you are doing the best you can do. Get up. Be ready to go to work on time. Don't slouch around. Be positive when you get up. Smile. I know it's hard because sometimes we're so sleepy in the morning. Have the same attitude towards your team that you want your team to have towards you.
Wow. Now that is some fantastic advice and step-by-step guidance, which is, love it. It really gave me chills hearing you say in terms of, for the parents just to admit, hey, I messed up, but now I want to do better. That is such a
right.
That sets it there. That is a great starting point. It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Wow.
It's just to be willing, because when you admit that you did something wrong, you're encouraging them to come to you when they have done something wrong.
Right.
Because you don't forget, you're going to do as you do and not as you say. Yeah. You should insist that they clean their room, and there are ways to do it without screaming at your children, without threatening them with a belt. Lead by example. That's the first step. Lead by example. Organize your surroundings. Like I said, be consistent. Plan with purpose. Don't waste a lot of time. Teach your children to be organized. And manners, please put them at the top of your list.
Right.
A lot of our teens are not using good manners. Yeah. And maybe it's because our parents have been lax in using good manners. Anything you want your teens to do, because they will mirror you, please start doing it. Start stepping up. Maybe you're listening to this podcast. Maybe you're thinking, gosh, I have really messed up. No, don't be hard on yourself. We all fall short.
Right.
Just start now and make a difference. Because Another thing that's very important, I really need to get it in.
Please do.
You are helping them build self-esteem, self-worthiness, and confidence. When you stand for what you know is right, you are teaching them to do the same. A lot of our teens and parents, and some of our parents, all parents across the board, whether you're married or whether you're single, have low self-esteem issues, and some of that comes from their childhood. They have not handled the dynamics that went wrong back there.
Right.
But now you need to start. You can't just use that as a crutch. You need to start now and do better. But
Right.
you have to help build the teen's self-esteem, self-worthiness, and self-confidence, because as an adult, they're going to thrive so much better if those areas are very healthy.
I couldn't agree more. So, Dr. Jewel, you mentioned that you have a double PhD. Wow. Going back to your teen years, were you always strong academically?
I was always strong academically. I was a little bit shy, believe it or not. I'm very talkative now.
Never guessed
when
that.
I was a teen. And my mother and father, they were such an encouragement. I'm going to say, unfortunately, I'm an only child because I wish I had siblings. And I miss siblings at that age and stage in my life as well. But my mother would encourage me, and my father too, to try things and would insist that I try it. They say, how do you know you don't like it if you don't try it? That's what you have to say to your teens.
Right.
When they tell you, no, I don't want to do that. How do you know? Why don't you try it for a month, for 30 days to see if you like it? Maybe it's something that you want to do long term. We won't hold you accountable now. We want you to try it just to see. I remember a time, I have a story.
We like stories.
My mother wanted me, I grew up in Chicago. My mother wanted me to try out for Miss Teen Illinois. I was petrified. I was thinking, are you kidding me? But I tried out and won because she said to me, if you try out, you're going to win.
Wow.
And I held on to that. This was a lady that believed in me when I was not believing in myself. I was nervous. But going back to your original question, yes, I graduated salutatorian in middle school, valedictorian in high school, and I have always been on an honors program, even magna cum laude or summa cum laude, all the way through school.
Okay.
And I had parents that were very hands-on, that supported me. They were at every parent-teachers conference, and they supported me. They encouraged me. They paid attention to me, but they also made me accountable. And that's what I'm encouraging the parents to do now that are listening to the podcast. Make your children accountable. You have a right to make them accountable because you're being accountable.
Right.
My kids cannot say to me, I'm going to drop out of college. Excuse me? That is not an option. You can't do it,
You set the bar high.
Yes, exactly. But This is such a great subject. I am so passionate about it. I probably will be doing a seminar on this very subject, and I'll let you know when.
Please do. I'm just thinking this whole time listening to you, taking notes, like I surely invited the right person on this podcast. You can tell this is something you're so passionate about, but you're so knowledgeable about from a professional standpoint as well, being a psychologist. So, wow. I know it's a controversial topic with a lot of parents in terms of with corporal punishment, but can you tell us more from a professional standpoint why it's ineffective to verbally and physically abuse your child to try to instill discipline?
Yes, I will be happy to do that. To me, every moment is a teachable moment. Now, there are times when maybe a child needs to be spanked, but some people abuse that privilege. They abuse it, and they use it much too often. If you have told your child, do not stick your hand or finger in the electrical outlet plug, and they continue to do it, just to hit them on their hand is hard. You don't have to spank them. You don't need to get a belt. Just kind of spank that hand and let them know. Take them at that moment. Let it be a teachable moment. If you spank your child and you don't have a teachable moment, it is a waste of time.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're doing it for a teachable moment, it's good. Now, some of you might say, yeah, I'm doing it for a teachable moment because I just want to get into clapping them because they didn't do what I told them to do. Find out why they didn't do it. You may not want to say, well, why? What do you mean, why? I told them to do it. They're supposed to do it. You're right. They are. But still find out why and let it be a teachable moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for me as a child, I was exposed to two different parenting styles. My mom, she believed in spanking, and I believe it's more so abusive in hindsight. But when I was 11 years old, my uncle became my legal guardian, and I lived with him until I graduated high school. And he didn't use spankings. He used more of a military style of punishment where like exercising, extra chores, things like that, and taking things away from me that I liked versus physically hitting me. And I think in hindsight, that was more effective in terms of instilling discipline and respect than the abuse that I experienced on the other end of it. Something I wanted your feedback on, and you definitely gave some good guidelines. I totally agree. Every moment is a teachable moment.
Yeah, make sure that every moment, especially if you are using corporal punishment on your child, you need to have a teachable moment. If you can't think of one, then maybe you need to rethink how you discipline them.
Right. Definitely.
I want parents to celebrate every achievement. I want you to participate in all achievements. Learn, read, and discuss books with your children. If they are deficient in reading, they are deficient in every area of their life. Take them to exotic places with books. Make sure you build an attitude for those children to love books. You can do it at night just before they go to bed. Build cultural awareness. Teach them about current events and what's going on in the world. Every kid out there should know who the President of the United States is, whether they like him or not. Help them make healthy decisions. Give them two healthy choices and say, which one do you think would work best for you and why? Talk to them about adult things. You want them to be a thriving, upstanding adult? Talk to them about some adult things. Be sure that they learn all the intimate things about life and romance after they're married. Make sure they learn it at home first.
Right.
Secondly, you need to balance church, family, school, and outside activities. And don't forget, love is the greatest gift. And help keep a balance. Teach your children about money. Give them an allowance. Let them budget it. If you give an allowance every 2 weeks, tell them, this is it for 2 weeks. Make sure you have penciled in the things that they need to pay for, and then give them a little extra over and above. But if they spend it all, I'm sorry. I'm not giving you any more for another 3 days, so you need to make do. You're teaching them to be an adult. When adults have a paycheck and they spend it all, they have no money left to spend.
Right.
Teach your children about money early. Piggy bank. Please teach them. They don't know enough about money and budgeting.
That was some good stuff there. Definitely. So, Dr. Jewel, what are some resources that you have for parents and teens?
I have workshops. I talk and counsel with parents. If they want an appointment, they can call me and we can set an appointment. If you have a troubled teen, I can get to the bottom of it. Believe me, I can get to the bottom of it. If your teen is being bullied, I definitely want to know. No child deserves to be bullied.
Right.
And I can tell you what to do in that instance. If your children are communicating with you, they will let you know when they're being bullied. If they're being bullied and they're not telling you, you're falling short on the communication scale.
Yeah.
Just remember that, because someone that feels open to talk to their parents and respect them, they're going to let you know when they're being bullied. They will tell you, and you need to handle it right away. Don't let the first words come out of your mouth, well, what are you doing? You'll find that out soon enough. Be compassionate at first. Ask them questions. Let them know you're interested. Maybe it is partially their fault, but you'll get to that. But don't let that be the first thing to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Let them know you want to know the story, the whole story, and you're going to get the whole story. But be on their side. Be a team with your child. Let them feel so loved, and let them learn to cherish you so much, knowing they can count on you.
Yeah, I love that. Be a team with your child. I like that a lot.
Yes. Of course, if you need to speak with me or need to make an appointment to talk with me or bring your teen in and let me know what's going on, or be a part of a workshop with other parents, because I think that would be good. If you're really having trouble, let's get this workshop going. Let's get you in a group.
Right.
And let's get it ironed out together. So if you're really interested in joining a workshop, please call me, 214-517-4777, and we will get you set up.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So, Dr. Jewel, is bullying something that a lot of teens are dealing with? Is that a big problem for teens?
Yes, there's a lot of bullying going on. There really is. But it only happens to children, number one, they usually have a low self-esteem, a lack of confidence, and they feel as though they have no self-worth. If they have a real healthy parental influence, they trust their parents, and they feel so good at home, you're not going to have a lot of bullying going on with that particular child. They're going to speak up for themselves. They're going to take that problem to the counselor. The counselor is going to call you in, and you're going to sit down and talk about it. And they're going to get that other parent in. And I like it because they have cameras in the schools now. So no one can say, well, so-and-so pushed me in the hallway. All they have to do is bring up that film, and they'll know for sure. And oftentimes they have undercover police officers as well. Yeah, they do. Some parents are not aware, but they have undercover police officers. I don't know how parents feel about someone else administering corporal punishment to your child. I'm just so outspoken. I don't think it's a good idea. I think a parent should punish their own children because they need to get the child's side as well.
Yeah. For me, I'm a new parent, and I can imagine someone else punishing my child.
Exactly.
I would lose it. Something that's really important. What should parents look out for to know, okay, my teen's dealing with something that may need professional help. They may need counseling, a psychiatrist, psychologist.
Oh, there are so many signs. Number one, their whole attitude, their whole persona is going to change. That's why I said you have to pay attention. You have to be observant. You have to listen to what they say and what they don't say. Look around in their room. They have a diary, and you can go through it. Don't let them know. Oh, I read your diary today. You're just keeping in touch with your child. And this would mainly be someone that doesn't communicate with you. If a kid is really troubled, they're not going to communicate with you. A child that's communicating with their parent, they're getting input about their situation constantly from their parent. This is mainly for teens that will not communicate with you.
Okay.
And when it gets so badly, try not to let it get to that stage. That's why I said every week you should sit down with your family and find, okay, what did we get right this week? What do we need to try harder at? What direction do we need to go in now? People with pen and pencil, and have a discussion.
Yes.
They will look forward to it. It's important. Your children need to be heard with respect, and let them know they have to do it respectfully when they're an adult and they take on a job, they can't go in screaming at their bosses.
Right.
They can't do that. You have to teach them now how to speak to people and expect for them to carry that out.
Yeah.
And let them know, you want to be grown, this is how you act. A lot of teenagers, they try to be grown, and then they want to come back and do something that's juvenile. You got to call them on it. Oh, I thought you were trying to be an adult. This is not adult behavior. You got to point it out to them. Be consistent. Be someone they can depend on. Be someone that will tell them the truth. And at the same time, if you fall short, let them know, I fell short. I'm not perfect. I'm learning too.
Transparency definitely builds that trust.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Always be transparent. Transparency is the same as being honest.
Right.
And honesty is definitely a trait that you want to instill in your children and all your relationships around you. I am a relationship specialist, people. Whether you're married, single, I am here to help you, whatever it is. Relationship, any type of relationship, marital, single, you name it. Sexual, any type of relationship.
Dr. Jewel, with your experience of working in schools, being a counselor, principal, what are some things that you witnessed parents doing that didn't contribute to trust, that was kind of basically what parents listening should avoid doing? I know you may have covered a lot of it already, but if you had to pinpoint some activities that you witnessed in your role as a counselor or principal, what would you say?
A lot of them would bring a belt to school.
Wow.
To give corporal punishment in front of the whole class to embarrass the child before actually getting their side of what has happened. Of course, I would not allow it as a counselor.
As far as bringing a belt to school to embarrass the kids in front of their peers, why is that a bad idea?
Well, first of all, if the child is troubled and in trouble, that's the worst thing you can do. That is not a win-win. That is piling trouble on top of trouble. That is making this child needs to talk to someone. They need to vent.
Right.
They need to let you know what's going on inside. The last thing they need is to be spanked before you have the opportunity and before you can respect them to take them alone to talk to them about the issue at hand.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass your children in front of a lot of people. Just don't do it. You and your husband, or if you're a single parent, you and your mother or someone you trust, but take them by themselves. Ask them, would you like to speak to me alone? Yeah. Give them a choice. So you want a choice.
Yeah.
If you had a boss, you wouldn't want them yelling at you in front of the whole staff. Treat
right.
your children the way you want to be treated would be my advice.
Comes back to that mutual respect and just that open communication. Yep.
Absolutely. And that will do nothing for their self-esteem, their self-worth, or their confidence if you treat them that way. Treat them with respect. Even if they're in trouble, treat them with respect.
That's great advice, Dr. Jewel. And you've given us so many practical strategies, tips, and just great resources, including sharing your number to, hey, parents, you need to talk to someone. Dr. Jewel is available. You do workshops for parents and teens. Also, you said seminars as well?
Yes.
And you have books as well, right?
Yes, I do. Nothing on teens yet. I'm writing one now.
Okay.
But I have books in other areas. I am an author, yes.
Fantastic.
And again, thank you so much for inviting me. I have truly enjoyed it. And parents, I can't wait to hug your children, to hug you, to shake your hands, and just let you know that there is someone here that cares and that can help you. I am certified and qualified, and I will be happy to help you move forward with your family. So contact me.
That was a fantastic interview with Dr. Daisy Jewel. Be sure to reach out to Dr. Jewel and let her know what resonated with you about the interview. Also, if you want to have someone talk to your teens or attend one of her workshops. She is a psychologist, double PhD. So believe me, Dr. Jewel knows what she's doing. Just to quickly recap some of the strategies, tips, and resources that Dr. Jewel shared. As she stated, parents, you have to encourage your teens to do as you do, not as you say. You have to model the behavior that you want your teens to exhibit. It's something that we always say in the Army, you have to lead from the front. So as a leader, as the leader of your household, as their parent, you have to lead by example. So certainly keep that in mind. We no longer live in the era where do as I say, not as I do. Your teens are watching you and they are going to exhibit the same behavior that you exhibit, whether you like it or not. Also, I love the exercise she mentioned as far as taking a sheet of paper and fold it in half. And on one side, you list the commitments that you are going to do, and then have your teens commit to the things that they're willing to do. And that's such a great exercise because it builds that trust, and it also gives your teen a voice, lets them know that you are treating them like an adult and you're going to hold them accountable to what they commit to. And it's going to be transparency because you both are making that commitment publicly to each other. And most importantly, Dr. Jewel just emphasized the importance of communication, just being open, honest, and always looking for teachable moments. She said every moment is a teachable moment, especially when you're disciplining your teen in whatever way that you see fit. Make sure it's a teachable moment. Well, parents, I hope you got a lot of value from this episode. I know I did. Be sure if you have any questions, comments, reach out to me at darich@mentorselect.com. Also follow me on Mentor Select over all the social media platforms. If you contact me, I will respond. And I just want to know that, hey, someone's out there listening. So I appreciate all feedback. Until next time, remember, it takes a village to raise a teen.
You've been listening to Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Hosted by Darich Phillips. Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. We get it. That's why Darich interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. That's why we do the show. Be sure to share Mentor Select with other parents of teens. Follow us on social media at Mentor Select to stay up to date on the latest tips, strategies, and resources for parenting teens. Send your questions and comments to darich@mentorselect.com. Tune in every Wednesday for new episodes. Till next time, this is Mentor Select.